My clients keep asking me, what is with veterinarians? Why are they so short? What's going on? We keep getting told with our pets that are sick, just put them to sleep. So I've been doing some research and finally I actually came across this article from the Atlantic. And it turns out that pretty much any veterinarian that could retire right as COVID hit did. And so that's people my age, and there's a lot of us. And the other issue is that so many veterinarians are female, which is great in terms of empathy, caring, et cetera, but they prioritize their own lives, unlike me, who worked like a crazy woman for decades and literally until the point where I made myself sick. So, what's going on with that? The other issue is we pay our staff, our veterinary technicians, our veterinary assistants, our receptionists, pitiful salaries. I think, when I sold my practice in 2016, my highest paid employee was at $22 an hour, and that was a credentialed, licensed veterinary technician. And I'm afraid that the salaries have not improved very much from there. So many people that have worked for decades in the veterinary field are like, screw it, I'm going to go work at McDonald's. At least I can make 15 bucks an hour and have some semblance of a living wage and a life. So it's a huge problem. There's some statistics from a study that Mars Veterinary Health made, and they do own the largest numbers of practices in America. So because corporate America stepped into owning veterinary practices, they've probably kept wages extremely low. But what they found is that by 2030, the US is going to need something like 41,000 additional veterinarians and almost 133,000 credentialed veterinary technicians. There's just no way that the profession can crank out that number of doctors in that period of time. What is starting to happen is Banfield and the AVMA, the American Veterinary Medical Association, helped to open up a veterinary teaching facility in Mexico at UNAM in Mexico City. And the fear 10 years ago was that, oh my God, the tuition's only $5,000. They're going to crank out vets. They're going to come up and flood the job market out. Well, interestingly, that never happened. But what is starting to happen now is that people are beginning to recruit these veterinarians because they are trained as well as any US veterinarian. They are bilingual, which is super important because in the United States, Spanish is the second most commonly spoken language. And actually, it's the percentage of people that speak it fluently is quite high. So it's going to take a while before this gets better. And to my colleagues' credit, they are getting yelled at, screamed at, called horrible names. They're being threatened. They're having bomb threats at their clinics, all sorts of crazy stuff. So when you do that to a group of introverts, no wonder these folks are shutting down. And the other problem is that we've come to rely on specialty clinics to take care of sort of more difficult or complex cases instead of the local practitioner actually learning how to use her brain and work through some of these issues. So everything gets referred. There was a story about a puppy that had cut itself. The woman had to wait for 14 hours in a stairwell at the emergency clinic to get her puppy seen. So finally, the vet sort of put a bandage on it, said, it should be okay. She went back, it wasn't okay. She went back to her local vet. The local vet said, oh, this is not okay, and referred her to an orthopedic specialist. And that took another week. And lo and behold, the Achilles tendon in this puppy had been nearly severed for almost 2 weeks. And chances are good that that puppy is going to lose its leg. So whose fault is this? Well, to some degrees, I mean, I got to tell you, yes, it's challenging to learn how to repair tendons, but I did. And it's like when you got to know how to do it, you just learn how to do it. And you say to your client, I'm really sorry. This is the first time I've had to do this. And so there is some risk that I may not be able to do it correctly. Would that have been better for this lady? 2 weeks ahead of hearing from the orthopedist that things weren't right and probably the puppy would lose its leg? Yeah, I think so. I mean, this is the problem. We are so afraid of being sued. We're so afraid of people yelling at us that we just hunker down and don't do anything. And I think this is unfortunately endemic in much of the United States. So I don't have any big solutions for this, but what I can tell you is that this is why pet health coaching, and in particular, holistic pet health coaching, is so critical right now, because this is not going to get better anytime soon. And so what that means is that the onus is going to be on you, the pet parent, to figure out what's best for your pet. I am training people as fast as I can to help you, the pet parent, learn how to care for your pet. And more importantly, to do it in a holistic way, using whole foods, supplements, and knowing the questions that you need to ask your veterinarian when you go there so that you can make as much use of that appointment as is possible. If this career change is something remotely interesting to you, I would love for you to click the link down there and apply, because we're going to be closing out enrollment somewhere around the 15th of September, where we have only 20 seats left in the class, and I would love for you to take on one of them. So check it out, click the link, make the application, let's get on a call and see if this is right for you. I'm Dr. Ruth Roberts, America's most loved pet health coach.